Yo, what's up everybody? It feels like it's been months since we sat down and talked about Path of Exile 2, but finally we have something to talk about. We have some new information, we have an official post, we have a confirmation of the next new league, the 0.3 league, when it's coming, everything like that, and we have lots of more additional information about the things that will be coming and what they're working on. And I'm talking like classes, acts, balancing, itemization, things like that. So there's a lot to go over here, and firstly we'll talk about this little post they did, and then I want to go over tons of new information we got from an interview that Jonathan Rogers just did. So there was an interview that took place about the new Chinese server, and he sat down with a panel of people, and I watched the whole thing. It was like a 1 hour interview, very similar to the interviews we have over here. They were talking in obviously their language, and it was translated. And then he spoke fully in English. So this isn't, some lost in translation type information. It's not clickbait. This is official. Jonathan Rogers saying this is coming, this is not coming. So I took a lot of notes. There's a lot to go over. So I'll keep it as simple and to the point as possible, so you're not sat here for an hour like I was. So let's get straight into it. Okay, so first, release date confirmed. So in an official post on the website, we have here content update timeline. Now that PoE 1 has had its league, which was very fun, by the way. If you didn't play that, I definitely would recommend. If you're a PoE 2 player and you're itching to get more content, go play the PoE 1 league. It was very, very fun. I think that's my second character, and I got it to like 89. I still want to play more, and it's been very, very fun, and it's really scratching the itch. So if you haven't tried it, I'd recommend that. But now it's time to talk about the Path of Exile 2 content update. So Path of Exile 2 has a lot of new players, so we thought it would be a good idea to explain how our updates work. Major updates for PoE 2 are released every 4 months. Since 0.2 is in April, that means the next one will be in August, and the one after that will be in December. So we're likely going to see these alternating 2-monthly PoE 1 league, 2 months later, PoE 2 league, 2 months later, PoE 1 league, which is fantastic. I think it's been a very, very rocky launch for them. I don't think they expected the work to be as much as they had. And yeah, PoE 1 players suffered hard, but we weren't exactly eating good on PoE 2 side either. Dawn of the Hunt had a lot of problems. So it looks like they're on the ball now. It looks like, content's flowing. The PoE 1 launch was pretty clean. So hopefully we get the same in PoE 2 now. Our big updates include one coming in August in new league. Leagues are a fresh economy for you to experience the new content update in, but they also have exclusive content that is only available in that league. So if you didn't play Dawn of the Hunt, if you just played the official first release of PoE 2, what a new league does is a new server, everyone makes a new character, new economy, everything's reset. One exalted orb is worth a lot on the new servers. So it's like everyone starts again. All the items get farmed again, and then there'll be specific things we can do on there. This time we have like the Azmiri Wisps and Rogue Exiles, things like that. So there'll be lots of like cool new things to do. During the league, the new content will usually appear in every area, giving you a new experience while playing through the game. After the league ends, we'll then have a chance to work out how we'll introduce the content into the base game, meaning it's a great way to introduce new things, while still giving us a chance to fix any problems they were in the game forever. After the league is finished, all your character and items will transfer to standard, where you can continue to play them. Okay, of course, our content updates always contain a lot of new stuff. Path of Exile 2 is still in early access. We have a lot of content that we haven't finished, and there is a lot of new stuff coming. That's good. Now, the date, 0.3 will be the update for... See, that's quite late. 29th of August for 0.3 is a little disappointing. I think a lot of us were expecting early August, but it's later in the month than we'd hoped. Same. But this is a big update, and there are a few other constraints we had to work around. We announcing the content around 1 week beforehand, so mid-August we'll know what's actually coming, what are the new features and stuff. We look forward to showing you guys what we've been cooking up. So I'm guessing there's going to be like some small teasers, some small they did a lot of teasers over on Twitter, on X, leading up to Dawn of the Hunt. So we'll likely see some little teasers, and then we'll get one of those big long streams with all the content. So very exciting. If you haven't played Dawn of the Hunt, if you played Dawn of the Hunt and quit because it released in a terrible state, just know in the last 2-3 months, the patches have been fantastic. They've changed itemization, combat, the speed of gameplay. Lots of things have changed for the positive, and the game is in a much better place than it was when Dawn of the Hunt released. The servers still suck, but the gameplay itself has improved drastically. So there's been some very good quality of life changes. So I'm really excited for the next patch, and I hope it launches in a better state than Dawn of the Hunt did. But that's the official word. Now let's go over this this stream they had. So there was back and forward a lot of talk about the Chinese servers and changes coming to that, but they all asked lots of questions about PoE 2 as a whole, what was coming in the next the 0.3 patch, things like that. So I've tried to make notes in sections: campaign, endgame, itemizations. So, and then I'll do like a little summary at the end. So first up, the campaign. So there was this guy who mentioned Cruel. He talked about, the problems with leveling through the campaign. And he basically said the campaign is great, but if you want to play alts, it's repetitive, boring, and stale. Are there plans to change that experience? And this is one of the best questions I think has ever been asked in the best way. It was honest and it was direct. And I don't think it was an easy one to answer, because the first response from Jonathan was no. No. He says, okay, once we remove Cruel, that won't feel as bad. And he says Cruel will be gone sooner than you think. So, that does hint that new acts are coming, which is very, very good. And then he says, once we have more content in each area, that won't feel as bad. And then he says, people think that it's slow. We're changing that in 0.3. So he said, as a whole, once we have, more content in every zone, because obviously we're in early access and we only have like little bits of content, you might find a Wisp, you might find a Strongbox, you might find, something in that zone, a Rogue Exile in that zone. But when there's like tons of stuff in every zone, it won't feel as long and as much of a slog. And then there's hints that it won't be as slow. Cruel will be gone, so we'll actually have like 6 acts, so you're not repeating 3. Overall, it's not a bad answer, but I don't think it's what a lot of us has wanted. If you've played PoE1, the difference is at like level, 4 or 5 or something, you get a potion that gives you like 40% movement speed. You get an ability that gives you a massive, it's basically like Blink. It's basically like a massive thing that helps you traverse. So even though there's a lot more acts in PoE1, you can clear that in a couple of hours, and you just blast through the campaign because you're getting through every map in under a minute. Maybe exaggeration, but you're speeding through the campaign so fast. Doesn't matter how the combat is, your movement speed and your ability to like get through the campaign is very fast on a brand new character with no like leveling gear. And I think that combined with these issues does make it feel rough. So that's one thing that I struggle with. I like making alts and I don't like replaying the story. So love this guy for asking this question, and fair play for an honest answer from Jonathan. So next up, Endgame. So that was pretty much all that was said as well. So Endgame. This question came along. The Endgame Atlas map has lots of issues. It's too large, it's boring, and it's repetitive, towers, all that stuff. And he basically they were very, very, these questions were great because they were very critical, and they spoke on a lot of things that I think we have issues with too. So it was really good. The response was, there isn't enough content in your maps right now. So similar to the leveling experience, they went back to that there's just not enough in the maps, and lots of ideas planned, but they need more time. And the devs aren't happy with how that end game is right now. So I think it's good to hear that they're not happy, because we're not happy either. But I just think as a whole, the Atlas sucks. I honestly think the Atlas is bad. Going around this big Atlas, towers, the random maps, like, oh, I've got to a mountain now and there's a river and I can't go around. It's just bad. The Atlas in PoE1 is infinitely better. You just queue up 10 maps. Say I want to do rituals. You just get 10 ritual maps, you queue them up, you throw them in, you chuck some scarabs in to guarantee rituals, and you just run 10 maps in a row. As soon as you're done, you just queue up 10 more maps. And if that's what you want to do in your evening, you do that. Whereas PoE2, it's like, I've got to go on the Atlas, I've got to get to a tower, I've got to find towers clustered together that aren't like next to an ocean, and then I got to set, and it's just an extra step of running maps that aren't fun to make maps set up that are fun. And I think lots of people don't like that, and they are fighting to make that fun when that's probably a hard thing to do because it's not fun. So yeah, this is I mean, what can you say really? They're just going to keep working on it, and they're not happy either. That's a good take. So then there was, why are you just repeating the same endgame content as PoE1? Are you just planning to reuse the same content, or are you going to add new things that we haven't seen before? Another great question. If you haven't played PoE1, lots of the things in the game are already in PoE1, ritual, all that, all the stuff that came on launch, and then like lots of the things that have been added since launch are just variants of things that are in PoE1. So something might get added to PoE2, but it's slightly different or it's slightly improved, but it's all been seen before. We haven't really had any like brand new content, and they said, yeah, that's our plan. During early access, we will likely see more updated versions of content you've already seen in PoE1. So they are going to continue to take stuff from 1, update it, put a new face on it, and put it into PoE2. So it says, while we're busy working on acts and classes, our focus will be bringing in more old content. So they basically just want to, like, to address all these other problems, they want to make the maps not dry and empty, where you're walking through a barren, empty map that's really big. They just want these maps to be full of fun content. So to do that, they're going to bring in lots of old content. So that's good. And then when the game is fully released, all new features will be new and original. And like, if you do look at PoE 1, there's lots of really fun content, you know, like something like Blight, bring in Blight from 1 and put it into 2, but with a new updated spin on it is going to be amazing. Like, I mean, most people will really like that. And that is good. There is a lot of good things they can bring from 1, like King's March. That's really fun. I really like that. It's like a town that you can build up and you can like have a team of people and do things there. That's really fun. Putting that into, I think would be good as well. So I think that's a good thing. And if it saves them dev time to actually get the game out, that's good. They were also asked about towers, and they just said they understand the frustration, but then there are no plans. One thing that I got from this interview that came abundantly clear is they understand people don't like the Atlas, but they don't have an answer to it. Okay, items and trade. So they said crafting, they understand that if you can't craft something, the campaign feels a lot harder. So they want to add crafting tutorials early game that doesn't make the game too easy, but helps you understand the importance of crafting and gets you into crafting earlier. Very good idea. And then trade. A guy spoke up in the interview and said, unlike these guys, my gameplay is trading. And I think we can all know a few people who hideout warriors that sit in their hideout trading and making a mirror in the first week of launch. So we've seen the gameplay, and this guy was one of those. He's like, I trade. I'm a trader. That's what I do. And he said, can you make it better? Brother, make it better. And they said, okay, will there be a trading house? We don't want to make trade too easy because of inflation. PoE 1 was designed with no trade, but now coming into PoE 2, we have the currency exchange, which is fantastic. You know, you go to Alva and you can trade stuff there, which is really good. We want to make a similar system soon as possible for non-trade items. Now, this is incredible to hear. I don't think this means we're going to get like an auction house, but there will likely be some sort of like additional things coming onto the exchange, which I think is very, very good. And then he said gold has been a great addition for trade and will help make a trade system without impacting inflation. So I don't think this means we're going to get like a trade, like an auction house, like I put this item on and I want this, but please do something. My ideal world, right? Or what I would really want for this is just you have the stash tabs and you put something in your stash tab and say, you know, I want 1 divine for this item. Let someone just buy it. Make us, like, if we have to use the external, you know, website to find the items, if I find, you know, Billy has an item for 1 divine in stash tab 4 and I click buy, just let that go into my stash. Just let me take it from. Why do we have to meet up to trade? That's kind of the thing that I don't like. I'm fine with having the external trade, but the meeting up, like I've got to leave my map and use a portal and then go to someone else and trade the item. When you're trying to sell like, you know, 1 chaos or like low value items, that's not fun. So I think that would be a very easy win, but putting more stuff on Alva again is a good idea, but could be better. Let's see what they come up with. Yeah, I got faith in them. We'll see. And the message we got here is that they want this in early access because they want this to get tested before release. So this is likely going to come very soon, which is great. Okay, now classes and balance, and there wasn't a great amount said here, which is unfortunate. This is probably the thing that I was the least happy listening to because it just wasn't kind of what we want. There was no information of new classes. The only mention of Druid was will you add a panda skin? Oh yeah, we could add a panda skin to Druid. That was a joke, basically. It was a joke about Druid, but there was no mention of, you know, Druid is ready, Druid is coming, whether they just want to keep that a secret and they want to keep that, not, you know, this isn't, you know, confirmed, but maybe they want to keep that a secret, you know, so that they have a really exciting launch release. Or, you know, if it's just not ready, I don't know. But there was loads of footage of, you know, the Druid ages ago during like their early showcases. So there's loads of gameplay that's out there. You can go watch it. But no mention in this interview of it being anywhere near done. So strange. They did say they're working hard to improve skills that are underused and underpowered. And they want to have more skills or all skills scaling into endgame, which is a challenge. They want more focus on build diversity rather than new classes. So again, more confirmation here that they're working hard on balance rather than adding more new things, which is good for the game, but less exciting for people that are thinking about jumping back in. They talked about jewel sockets. They want to make them more interesting, but they also want to improve the passives so that you're not always looking for jewels. You're happy with, you know, cool and interesting passives instead. So overall, nothing really exciting here. They, you know, what you would expect in an ARPG, they want to balance it better. Yeah, that's it. There was some also talk about, one shots. People don't like the one shots. It doesn't feel good, especially on hardcore. But no plans to change that anytime soon. Basically, he said if you go out and get better gear, maybe it won't happen. Go play all the content for a while and get better gear, and you'll feel more powerful. That was the response. Nothing planned. They understand it's a problem, but nothing planned. But that's the summary I took. There was loads of other information about like different things and like different nuances of the game. If you want to go watch the whole thing, but that was the things that I wanted to talk about that I think you might want to know if you're thinking about coming back for 0.3. So overall summary, if you've skipped ahead in the video, you've just skipped 15 minutes of video. Hello, welcome to the end of the video. So yeah, here's everything condensed into 30 seconds or a minute. Next patch 0.3 coming out in August 29th. That's confirmed. Good things mentioned. They are working hard on both games to hit deadlines of release schedules, meaning PoE 1, new league, 2 months later, PoE 2, new league, 2 months later, PoE 1, new league. So if you like Path of Exile and you want to play both games, you're constantly going to have something new, which is very exciting. Balance is massively important, and they want to have more variety. No more, lightning spear meta, which was not good. They don't want to have just like one skill that scales really well, dominating the whole game. They want to have lots of abilities that scale well. New acts are coming soon, and the cruel will be gone sooner than we think, which is fantastic. Trade is a big priority, and bringing non-currency items onto a similar sort of trade exchange is a big priority that they want to get out soon, preferably for release. Adding in PoE 1's systems are a big focus during early access. So, they want to have things like, a Blight, King's March, Abyssal, Legion, things like that. PoE 1 systems that if you're playing PoE 2, you've never heard of. They're going to bring more of those over, because if you didn't already know, lots of the PoE 2 systems are just copied from PoE 1 or updated from PoE 1. So that's what they want to keep doing. And then as soon as the game is fully released, they will be making bespoke, new, unique features just for PoE 2. And then the bad, obviously, no new systems coming into release, it is what it is. The release seems very far away. There was a lot of talk about while we're in early access. No mention of, we want to be out of here in 3 months. No mention of, like a date where they want to get out and like plans to get out. There was a lot of talk about things we want to test in early access. So it doesn't feel like we're anywhere near the full release, to be honest. No mention of new classes or progress on any of the new classes, or nothing to share about new classes or anything like that. No mention of performance, which I personally was really hoping they talked about. The European servers were terrible, but pretty much like the whole 0.2 I played. I played 0.2 for like nearly 2 months, and it was still a problem personally towards the end. Disconnects, rollbacks. Yeah, that's pretty much everything we know so far. I think we're going to get a few little teasers coming up to the next league, and then we're going to get the big league announcement. But that's everything we know so far. If you have any questions, anything you want to talk about, let me know down below. If you watch this and there's something else really important that you think was missed here, add it down below in the comments for people to see. But thank you for watching. What do you think about 0.3? Are you still excited? Have you lost all hope? Where are you? I'm still looking forward to it. I've got faith. I love this game, so I'm excited for what's to come. But let me know. Thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.